Welcome back, True Seeker. Another death in the headlines. A lot of people catching wind of this today because the New York Post covered it. The news had broken a couple days ago, but again, a lot of people didn't hear about it until the New York Post, very popular publication, put it on their page today. And it's pretty obvious why the New York Post covered it today, as we'll get to. I also noticed that when the story first broke, he was 53. And then the headlines that followed later said he was 54. We see this a lot with celebrity ages when they pass. There being conflicting ages in the news. This happens a lot. If you look at his current Wikipedia page, he was definitely 53, but would have turned 54 in June. We know what the 54 is all about, but the 53 really is the more fitting number for what he was remembered for, as we'll get to. I want to cover this, and then I also want to give an update on the book Jonathan and I are working on. I said I wanted to be done with it by March 9th. That's still possible, but I'm not quite sure. I don't want to rush it and release it before it's done. If I don't have this thing finished by March 9th, it's not going to be too much after. So we are nearing the completion of that project, and when it's done, I'll let everybody know where they can pre-order it. And if you want signed copies, I'll get all those directions when it comes, but I'm not going to do it until we're finished this time. And yeah, so that's coming second. I'll read a little. I'm trying to get the introduction just right. Again, the intro is so important. I'll read to you a little bit of what I got right now, and you guys can give me your feedback in the comments later. But first, DJ Funk. He died March 5th. Chicago rapper, or more like Chicago DJ, not so much a rapper, but if you remember in the 90s, like all the bass albums you could get at the record store, he produced that kind of music. Anyhow, March 5th was his date of passing. This 3-5 thing, well, it ties right in with his home city, Chicago, which has a gematria value of 35. We see it all the time with rap. The 35 thing in the deaths. We were just talking about this, yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? Again, just highly recurring pattern. And if you are new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language. This practice of coding numbers into words is called gematria. It comes from Kabbalah. Again, if you look into Kabbalah, there's a dark half, which is like witchcraft. And again, you think about words like spells and spelling and magic, it all starts to come together. So anyhow, we're writing a book on this very specific topic of deaths in the hip hop world by the numbers. And you can see right here again, just Chicago rappers dead on March 5th. Date that can be written 3-5. It can also be written 5-3. And it looks like his actual age of death is 53. And we'll get to what that had to do with his music. But just right here with the 3-5, March 5th passing against Chicago rap, Svengali. Svengali, if you look into it, it's about the evil hidden hand in the entertainment industry, and it comes from a story about a Jewish man where historically the practice of coding numbers into words, it's associated with Judaism through Kabbalah, which is largely studied in the Torah. Svengali is symbolized with a spider, just for the record, how spider equals 35 like Svengali. The word Satan is also 35 like Baphomet. Again, selling your soul to Satan in the entertainment world for fame is a story told many a times. Now, again, it looks like his actual age of death is 53, regardless of the more recent headlines, which changed his age of death to 54. He was known for ghetto house music. He invented that term, ghetto house. Ghetto house equates to 53. Again, his date of death can be written 5/3 or 3/5. And again, with the panel of trolls trying to debate, they were trying to denounce the work because sometimes I was pointing out how if you run the date this way, it connects. If you run the date this way, it connects. And they're like, see, you have to run it both ways to make it connect. It's like, well, that's because that's what they're doing, clearly. And there's a gazillion examples like this. Here's just the latest. The Chicago rapper known for ghetto house music dead on the 3-5 or the 5-3 date. And also notice just how ghetto house overlaps with Chicago. 143 when you run the alphabetic order forwards. Chicago's 143 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. Chicago's 46 when you run the alphabetic forwards, like how you guys won your only Super Bowl with 46 points with the revolutionary 4-6 defense. It's 46 when you run it in reverse with numerology. The 53 and 35s are reflections of each other. Again, the New York Post ran the story today about his death on March 7th. They waited until 3/7 to report his death. And the other thing about 3/7 is March 7th is the 66th day of the year. DJ Funk equals 66. New York Post waited until today. And also you can see how DJ Funk's 33 in the base ciphers. His first album came out in 92, 33 years ago. So he's dead 33 years after his first album. It says DJ Funk, the Chicago legend who coined the term ghetto house, has died. The musician, whose real name was Charles Chambers, CC, C's the third letter, CC, 33. DJ Funk, 33 years later. Says he was 54, but I think he was actually 53. Funk's death was confirmed to people by his friend and collaborator DJ Slugo. He was one of the pioneers of the sound we call ghetto house music in Chicago. He wrote in an email statement, "We love and miss you, my brother, and I won't let your sound die or our sound die." With regards to his age of death being changed to 54, we know this is very important to the Jesuits, who, again, gave us the language and the calendar, and a lot of the people who run these record studios are part of this network. Tupac's death is one of the most blatant Jesuit rituals of all time. But notice how Jesuitism, the actions of Jesuits, has that Gematria 35 when you run it forward, 64 in reverse. March 5th, the day he died, is the 64th day of the year. Again, Catholic has the 35-46 connection. Should remind you of JFK, the first Catholic president, number 35, killed on I-35 at age 46. Joe Biden, the second Catholic president, loses his son at 46, then is elected number 46, 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. Inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. Again, Holy See, that's the territories the Catholic Church controls. Holy See, spelled like see with your eyes. Just for the record, I has that 35 and 46. And again, first album in 92. Dead 33 years later. So there's probably a lot more to this. Let me check out the DJ Slugo guy, actually, because he still breathes, and this is his counterpart. Well, he doesn't have a Wikipedia, so I don't know if some of these secondary websites would have his birthday. Yeah, and it looks like MSN is also questioning him being dead at 54 because they're saying his birthday is June 20th, 1971, which means he should turn 54 later this year. And by the way, he died 107 days before his birthday. Ritual sacrifice 107. We've seen that before. Ritual sacrifice also 251, the 54th prime, going with the age of death being reported 54. So again, just sadly par for the course in the world of entertainment. These people dying by numbers connected to what they're remembered for. Your number's up, your days are numbered. Okay. Now, to read a little bit of the introduction I'm working on for the book for Jonathan and I, 38 Special. Again, the book's about, putting to rest the mysteries of all these unsolved mysteries in the world of hip hop. Whoops, let me come back up here. All right. So this is the forward I was working on, Unlocking the Mystery of 38 and 83. It says the contents of this book, I'll make it bigger if you want to read it. Oh my God. How come when I try to zoom in, it does that? Every time you zoom in, it goes to the bottom. Why? All right, we're just going to do it like that. The contents of this book are about something bigger than hip hop. They're about an evil secret in the world of entertainment, in the world of media, and in the world of government. It is a secret that has been alluded to in the songs Murder by Numbers by The Police, Gematria, The Killing Name by Slipknot, Nas's verse on the song Patience, and in popular fiction such as Agatha Christie's The ABC Murders, as well as Hollywood's film sharing the same name as the song, Murder by Numbers. Regarding the last title mentioned, take a moment to look up the poster for the film Murder by Numbers, and you'll have a perfect visual to accompany the point of this book's contents. As you'll see, the film's title is spelled Murder by Numbers, where the E replaces the 3 and the B's are used to replace the 8s. It goes along with the song Murder by Numbers, which was recorded in 1983 with emphasis on 83. And in just a few moments, you will soon understand what the word murder has to do with the numbers 38 and 83 through the Kabbalistic practice of encoding numbers into words. This newfound understanding of the hidden meaning of numbers encoded in words, something known as Gematria and sometimes called isopsophy, will provide clarity on many deaths in the world of celebrity, especially in the world of hip-hop, where in recent days, as Jonathan and I finished this book, and I'm just trying to make the point that this is all just very immediate. So I don't know if that's the right way to capture it, but that's how it is for now. As I finished this book, just after the 2025 Grammys concluded, where Kendrick Lamar took top honors, Irv Gotti, maybe I should say where rapper, for anyone who doesn't know he's a rapper, where rapper Kendrick Lamar took top honors, Irv Gotti, the founder of Murder, Inc., was reported dead. Funny enough, and not by coincidence, his passing came just after the 83rd anniversary of the real Murder, Inc. gang coming to its conclusion. Then just days later, Tyga released his latest album on the 38th day of the year, only for his mom's death to be announced shortly after. On the same day, Biggie's mother was also announced. Rituals, and yes, that is what they are. Rituals are part of a long-standing pattern of intentional sacrifice that also sheds light on why Angie B, a.k.a. Angela Stone, part of hip-hop's first female trio, The Sequence, was announced dead on the first day of the third month, March 1st, 2025, exactly 38 weeks after being inducted into the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame on June 8th, 2024. Once again, what you will learn in this book is bigger than hip-hop, and it will shed light on many things, including why the Vietnam War saw U.S. troops first deployed to the needless killing fields of Southeast Asia on March 8th, a date that can be written 3-8 or 8-3 like 38 and 83, and why young Black American men were killed at a highly disproportionate rate compared to other American ethnic groups in the same war and not by accident. Your newfound understanding will leave no doubt as to why Walter Cronkite broke the news of JFK's assassination, saying some 38 minutes ago, before he went on to explain how the president had been assassinated, the same president trying to keep the United States out of the Vietnam War. Your new knowledge will also help you comprehend why the most recent Secretary of Defense at the time of the writing of this book, Pete Hegseth, was sworn in to lead the Pentagon on the 38th parallel north, 38 days after Pope Francis's birthday, on a calendar named after a pope. And in turn, your new learning will provide clarity to why one of hip-hop's most extraordinary lyrical talents, Andre 3000, once said, "The Pope and his folks have us under a scope." Keep in mind that verse is a significant clue about why Kobe Bryant, a basketball star but also a rapper, died exactly 38 weeks after his wife's birthday, the same one he cheated on in Colorado, the 38th state. Of course, Kobe Bryant died at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. And speaking of spirituality, the knowledge will also provide clarity as to why DMX's song Damien mentions 38th and Broadway in reference to where he has to kill his own friends at the behest of a demon. Sadly, it's a verse that ties in directly with George Floyd, a rapper amongst many other things, who was killed on the corner of 38th and Chicago in Minnesota, needlessly, in an act that was literally made to provoke TV audiences and stir up the chaos that ensued. Leave no doubt that by the end of this book, you will understand the who, what, why, when, and where of these rituals. The hope is that in learning about this wicked practice and the sorcerers behind it, you, the reader, will help spread the knowledge until enough people know about what is happening in this world so that those responsible can be held accountable. The other hope of Jonathan and I in writing this book is that it helps the next young, talented person, rapper or otherwise, understand why they should remain independent and not sign with these major labels and Clive Davis types. Otherwise, they will likely end up in the obituaries prematurely, along with their loved ones, both friends and family members, a story told too many times already to date in the world of celebrity. So here's to it. Intro to Letters and Numbers, Gematria, the killing name. Gematria is the Kabbalistic practice of encoding numbers into words. It is a form of cryptography, and it is practiced at the highest levels of society, including government, which is why the CIA has a statue dedicated to it outside of its headquarters known as Cryptos. The code is as simple as the Jackson 5 song you likely know, ABC. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. That said, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language, and you want to know all 4. They are intuitive and as follows. So then there's the 4 ciphers. You guys know it, the alphabetic order forwards, in reverse, both numerology. I numbered them 1 through 4. To be clear, simple English Gematria uses the alphabetic order and converts letters into numbers based on their placement. As for reverse simple English Gematria, it is similar but opposite. It runs the alphabetic order in reverse. As for the 2 Pythagorean ciphers or reduction ciphers, you're simply applying numerology to each letter based on its placement, which is why every letter is reduced to a single-digit number in the 2 respective ciphers. With these systems now understood, let us decode the following words: rapper, murder, and killing. The pattern should be apparent, and as we track through hip-hop's most notorious murders, what should already be obvious will become painfully repetitive. So again, I broke down rapper, murder, killing in all 4 base ciphers, and I imagine the reader will take a minute to look here, and we'll see the obvious redundancies and overlaps. And then it goes on. As you can see, all 3 words have a numerical connection to the number 38. You can also see that both rapper and murder equate to 34. At the same time, you can see that rapper and killing both equate to 74, a number that will be a recurring theme alongside 38 as we talk about many deaths, including Tupac's, Notorious B.I.G.'s, and Nate Dogg's. In this case, it is a pattern that doesn't lay low. And just to be clear, every number pertaining to the words rapper, murder, and killing will be recurring in the rituals surrounding the deaths of the many people we will discuss who are connected to the hip-hop industry. Building more on the relevance of the number 38 in gematria terms, the word death equates to 38 in the simple cipher. To say the most simple cipher. And RIP equates to 38 in the reverse simple cipher. So does the word pentagon when the Pythagorean cipher is applied, which of course is the nation's headquarters for the legitimized killers, the military sitting on the 38th parallel north, along with the rest of the federal city, the same one that supposedly can't solve many of these murder mysteries to date. And again, I just tucked in here the gematria. After this intro, I'm going to stop. And Jonathan didn't do it in his writing. I just, in the beginning of the book, I just want people to see the math and just get used to it. And then in the rest of the book, just say, you know, in this cipher, this equates to this. But in the early part, did do the math. I do know that people who listened to the book in auditory form with all the math in my first one said it was driving them nuts listening to all the 7 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5. So again, you'll just have to deal with that in the early part of the book, and then it will be no more. It goes on. As for the band that wrote the song Gematria, the Killing Name, 2 of the members have since died, and the lead singer has also lost his daughter. The first member to go was Paul Gray, who died on May 24th, 2010 at age 38. Then it was the founding drummer, Joey Jordison, who passed on July 26, 2021, a date having a 38 numerology in its path. For the sake of learning, let us learn the 4 key paths for extracting the numerology of a date, practicing with July 26, 2021. Again, I show the 4 paths for extracting date numerology. You know how you get the 20, 38, 74. The lesser date numerology is 54. It says the first 3 paths use all the digits in the date, and the paths equate to 20, 38, and 74 respectively, all breaking down to the number 2. And then I show how they break down to 2. The 3 paths will always break down to the same single digit, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. The 4th path is the abbreviated date numerology, and it is also essential. In this case, it breaks down to 54 and then 9. As for the numbers extracted from this date, let us explore how they connect to death, as well as Joey Jordison being the drummer of the band that created the song Gematria, the Killing Name. So again, I show the 4 base ciphers of death, how you can see the 4 base ciphers of drummer and the overlap, and where those numbers tie in with gematria. And then I go on. You can see where the date numerology of 20 and 38 connects with the word death. You can also see how 38 connects to him being a drummer and the word gematria. You'll also notice how gematria equates to 74 and 38 in the same ciphers as killing. going with the band's hit song Gematria, the killing name. And if you have seen the film This Is Spinal Tap, then you already know about the running joke of drummers and death. Speaking of which, notice the overlap with drummer and death, both equating to 3897. To build further on this understanding, let us also decode the words English, energy, and Jewish. We'll decode the latter word because gematria is predominantly a Jewish study, and any rabbi will tell you that gematria boils down to energy, something that music is full of, and so are emotions, which death always produces. So you can see the overlaps with English, energy, Jewish. It says, as you'll recall, the word rapper equates to 74, 38, 88, and 34 in the base ciphers, very similar to English, energy, and Jewish. And regarding the latter, it is no secret that Jewish record executives oversee much of the commercial hip-hop music industry, as well as much of the world of entertainment. Don't get it twisted, however. This is not an attack on Jews. It is just stating facts. What is also a fact is that Freemasonry is based on the spiritual study of Kabbalah, and Freemasonry, the same secret society for men, is sometimes referred to as Judaism for the Gentile. Again, Gematria is also based on Kabbalah. I bring this up because when the daughter of Slipknot member Sean Crahan passed, he asked all cards and flowers I can write that a little bit. All cards and flowers be sent to his local Masonic temple, the Scottish Rite Consistory of Des Moines, Iowa, located at 519 Park Street, an address similar to the date of the announcement, 5/19/2019, with emphasis on 5/19, the 139th day of the year. Not by coincidence, the word Freemasonry equates to 139 in the most simple cipher. And of course, later in the book, everything that's being brought up in the intro is expanded on, including things like how Tupac Shakur equals 139 and he died on 13/9, et cetera, et cetera. As for the word Masonic, notice its near perfect overlap with killing, equating to 74, 115, and 43 in the same ciphers. With regards to Kabbalah, Gematria largely pertains to the Torah, or the 5 books of Moses, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. This is important because Genesis, the first book of the Bible, speaks to sacrifice in its 46th chapter. Not by chance, the word sacrifice equates to 46 in the Pythagorean cipher. At the same time, the band Slipknot equates to 46 in the reverse Pythagorean cipher. So go figure that the 2 members of the band that have died are Owie Jordison, who passed at age 46, and Paul Gray, who died May 24th, 2010, 46 days after his April 8th birthday. This number is heavily recurring in suspicious deaths in the world of entertainment, including the recent passing of Angie Stone, who died 46 years after her recording career began in 1979. Adding insult to injury, her recording name, not her birth name, equates to 46 in the Pythagorean cipher. And then again, the math's there for Angie Stone. And in light of it being the police who stated her passing was simply due to a car accident, don't forget it was the band The Police who recorded Murder by Numbers, not to mention the drummer for that band, Stuart Copeland, is the son of Miles Copeland Jr., a founding member of the CIA. At the same time, it was also a police officer on the neck of 46-year-old George Floyd on the corner of 38th and Chicago, a street sharing the name of a city that won their only Super Bowl, with the Revolutionary 4-6 defense winning by a score of 46-10. Not by chance, it's also a city with a simple value of 46. And then I haven't finished writing everything, but things I'm going to get into from there is obviously the 46 connection back to the Catholic Old Testament, where this code comes from, where the Jesuits fit in. Again, both of the Slipknot members' deaths are very symbolic to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. The second member to die died on the feast day of Saint Anne, who's said to be the grandparents of Jesus in the history of the church. And again, after talking about the Catholic Jesuit connection, the next chapter naturally is what happened to Tupac and the Machiavelli album, and again, how he died on Caesar Borgia's birthday, which is where White Jesus comes from, and how Machiavelli wrote The Prince based on Caesar Borgia, and then how when Prince died by the numbers in a big 38 special, after his girlfriend died the day of the Grammys on the 46th day of the year, then how shortly after that, Tupac's mother was announced dead on the real Machiavelli's birthday, who again wrote The Prince, and their deaths are just days apart. And then, of course, just getting into all the other hip hop deaths. Jonathan did a lot of good research on all the big deaths. So we're just fine tuning everything, getting things in the right order. Something I still have to talk to about Jonathan is he made a lot of the book very personal with a lot of his own inserts and things in his life that went in there. And I'm like, I don't know if you want all this in the book, because I like you, Jonathan, but I know the average reader is not going to care too much about Jonathan. They want to know what's going on in the industry. So yeah, we're still fine tuning everything. And yeah, well, what I want to know is if I started to make this too complicated, did it get too complicated here at the end? Am I trying to tie in too much in the intro? A part of me, when we first started, just wanted to keep it like a children's book and talk about nothing but 38. But yeah, so anyway, that's where the feedback would come back in. We can really simplify it. We can turn this thing into a children's book, but Jonathan covered a lot of numbers beyond 38, so I just tried to tie in a lot of the numbers that come up over and over in the book in the introduction and give an understanding for where they come from. So yeah, I'm probably 2/3 of the way done with this introduction the way I see it. And yeah, I'll get your feedback on what you guys thought. Is it too complicated? Is it just right? Was there anything I went over that you were surprised you didn't hear? Because there's some things I'm going to tuck in that maybe you're thinking like, why wasn't that in there? But yeah, I'll be open to all of that feedback. Open Up says too complicated for simple minds. Yeah, again, we might have to follow it up with the children's version with just two sentences on each page, all 38 with some illustrations. Okay. Yeah, Eric B says yeah, more children's style. Yeah, I do intend to do that, and so. All right. Well, we'll keep fine tuning it. I'll look for the rest of you guys' comments, and we'll go from there. So. Yeah, and I mean, there was even deaths this month that I overlooked, like Dolly Parton's husband. And the month's not, I mean, really, the month's just getting underway, isn't it? It's March 7th. So, okay. I guess the other thing I'll say before I sign off is today is the 10th anniversary of me being arrested in my own front yard. And again, the lesson from that was a lesson I should have already known. Again, your Miranda rights, you got the right to remain silent. Definitely use that right anytime it comes to the police. Had I not talked that day, had I just not said a word when they came to talk to me in my front yard, I wouldn't have been arrested. Nothing would have happened. I was simply honest with the police because I didn't think there was any chance I was going to be arrested. I was blown away when I was arrested because I was not the one doing the harassing. I was the person being harassed. But yeah, 10 years ago today, I had my neighbor who robbed my house after I loaned him some money, who skipped town and then came back and knew he was a guilty party. So he went out and did the con man thing and filed a restraining order against me, even though I had done nothing to him. No threats, nothing, which was upheld by a judge, which then put him in position to harass me, which went on for a period of time before I finally said something back to him from across the street on this day, essentially telling him to leave me alone. And that was enough to get arrested. So yeah, when it comes to the police, you do have the right to remain silent. And you should definitely always use that, because police are not here to help you. And even if you have a problem and you call the police, they're going to be questioning you like you did the crime to see if they can dig up one more thing to potentially get you in even more trouble. So yeah, police are not your friends. They are not. And definitely use that right to remain silent. I spent pretty much this whole day in jail 10 years ago, and it was absolutely ridiculous. So All right. All right. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share. And please do get more feedback. Like, shout out to Ralph in LA. He says, yeah, leave out some things for the dum-dums to comprehend. Yeah. I started to feel that way as I was writing. I was like, man, this isn't that too hard to understand, but maybe it is a bit excessive for the dum-dums, which is almost everybody. But do the dum-dums even read it? That's why it's just so hard. It's so hard. This could be the last book ever put out, because that's the other thing. It's just like, I don't know if it's worth it as much as it costs and the few people that read it, but we're going to give it one last shot. Plain Decoded, why are you always in the chat just leaving dumb comments? Of course I was charged. I was arrested and I was charged with violating a restraining order. God, you don't get arrested if you're not charged. Yeah, Plain Decoded, you're on the verge of getting blocked again, because I saw you in the chat the other day also making fun of D26. He's someone who's provided some brilliant things for this community, something I'm not aware that you've ever done. So, all right. Yeah, we will leave it there for now. Till next time, True Seeker.